Georges Seurat was another well-known painter from this time. As a young artist, Seurat had studied the style of Impressionism. More like the Impressionists than like his provincial contemporaries, Seurat was a Parisian artist who concentrated on painting scenes from the French middle class. Although, like Gauguin, Seurat did not paint directly from life. This is apparent in his highly stylized figures and environments. With his innovation of pointillism, Seurat would use a very small brush to apply tiny dots of color. When seen from a distance, these dots optically mix to create the image. This time-intensive, methodical process seems to negate the quick, expressive painting style that so characterized the work of the Impressionists. By their very nature, Seurat's paintings had to be well planned, with countless studies and sketches made in advance. When it came time to actually paint the image, he thought about it as an automated process, like something that a machine could produce. As with Van Gogh, Paul Cézanne painted from life, but exaggerated qualities of what he depicted. In the case of this still life with apples, Cézanne referenced Degas' tilted ground plane. If this were a three-dimensional space, the apples would roll right off the table and onto your lap. This use of isometric perspective allows us to see more of the image than we normally could. Cézanne made a large series of paintings depicting a mountain in France called Mont Sainte-Victoire. As with his still life with apples, Cézanne's images of Mont Sainte-Victoire made use of a tilted ground plane. The buildings in the village below appear laterally stacked as if built into a wall. This is one way that Cézanne negates the illusion of space to flatten the picture plane. It becomes difficult to read this painting as a window into another world when the illusion of three-dimensional space is not complete. Another way that Cézanne flattens the image is by limiting his color palette. This painting is essentially composed of yellow, green, blue, and white. By using local colors of little variation, the environment loses the sense of dimensionality that could be created with a larger color range. Variation of surface thickness also helps to remove the illusion from the painting. The impasto application of paint helps to acknowledge that the painting is an object rather than a smooth surface like a window. Finally, Cézanne uses his brushstrokes in a way that gives them two functions. First, the brushstrokes become images of the objects that he's depicting. The vertical green brushstrokes are used to create images of trees, and the horizontal yellow brushstrokes allude to the houses and the ground. The second way that Cézanne's brushstrokes function is simply as being brushstrokes. Even though Van Gogh uses bold, visible brushstrokes in his paintings, they are still clearly used in the service of depiction. There is no mistaking that orange and yellow marks that he paints are meant to illustrate the lights shining from the stars and the moon. Cézanne's consciously clunky brushstrokes help to further abstract the surface of his painting from its subject matter. In fact, if you were to remove the landmark of the mountain from the horizon, the content of this painting becomes much less clear. Instead of a mountain landscape, the painting seems to disintegrate into an abstract relationship of shapes and colors. The shapes of green that previously described trees are now simply marks of paint. This further negation of image served to influence the work of many younger artists in the early 20th century.